In Columbia, South Carolina, they've made it official. Shane Beamer is going to be the new head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. Who is he? Well, short order right now, he's the tight ends coach out at Oklahoma. He's 43 years old. You got a lot of detractors out there who will be really quick to tell you, guys got no head coaching experience, no coordinator experience. That's one way to look at it. Okay, those things are true. I don't know about the connotation, but those things are true. The other side, the optimist, would tell you, well, he's a rising star in the business. He knows Southern recruiting. He certainly knows the state of South Carolina and the South Carolina program, and he loves this program. So they're going to sell you on it being a culture fit. He was introduced today, met with a lot of the staff. I saw where he was over there even late into this evening, maybe gone by now, but late into this evening, kind of meeting with the team, meeting with staff. Probably won't keep most of them. Maybe he'll keep some of them. I don't know. But here's an important point. I was looking at John Whittle. I was looking at Sherbert and the guys over there on the Big Spur reporting that he's going to finish the season with Oklahoma. Now, I got to be honest with you. 5 years from now, if this works out, you won't even remember that. Like Kirby did this with Alabama and Georgia. He stuck it out with Alabama. They were in the midst of a national title run, and Georgia folks didn't like it at the time. No one even talks about it now because, I mean, he was able to stack recruiting classes on top of each other. Georgia's been a monster. Like, they don't care about it now. So if Beamer's able to have success at Carolina, no one will care about it. However, we aren't 5 years down the road. We're right here in late 2020, and I understand some frustration from some Gamecock fans about this because if you're going to sell me on how much you adore this program and how ready you are to get to work, I'll believe you. Show me and tell them, thanks, but I got to go. You know, I appreciate it, and perfect world, I'd love to stay here, but I got business to take care of. I mean, I got a roster. I got to re-recruit my roster over there. I got to figure out who's staying, who's going. We got 11 days and change until early signing day. We got to see what we can do about next year, not 3 or 4 years from now. We want to see what we can be next year. I would love for him to be starting tomorrow. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Now, I understand you can do a lot of this stuff virtually, so he can go back to Norman. He can split duties. I'm not ignorant enough to think otherwise. However, if you believe in symbolism, sure would be nice to have him on the job now. As for Billy Napier, I was told his interview went really well. There were some complications, which we don't need to get into here. There have been some complications behind the scenes that made his interview process kind of hard. Now, he had COVID, and that's public. But there were some other hurdles that they had to overcome. His interview did not happen in person because of that. So that's what needs to be put out there. It's all that's really important because it's not football related, in other words. I think this needed to be a perfect fit. Kind of listening to some people close to him and listening to and reading between the lines, I don't think he's been dying to leave Louisiana. I don't think that South Carolina was dying to hire him. I think there was so much universal support behind the scenes for Shane Beamer that it was gonna have to be a grand slam on either side. And I don't get the sense that that's where it was, especially on Napier's side. I don't get the sense that's where it was. So maybe it's a situation where you look back again 5 years down the road and both parties are better off for it. I don't know. But I do know, it wasn't any kind of disaster interview. Things went really well for him. It just didn't work out for a couple of different reasons. It didn't work out. Let's go back to the things that I wanted Carolina to hit. So everyone asked me today, what do you think about this hire? So I told you when they fired Muschamp. Here's what I'm looking for. When they hire a coach, whether it's the head coach or whether it's the philosophy he installs, it just needs to be radically different offensively than what they've been doing. Based on words coming out of people's mouths, based on what they're going to draw on paper, I think we can check that box. They're going to try, so they're committed to it. We'll see how it plays out on the field. I thought South Carolina needs a supreme evaluator of talent, maybe even more important than recruiting there, although that's neck and neck. I don't know about him as an evaluator, to be honest with you. I think I do know that we can check the box when it comes to recruiting. Not only Beamer, but I think his staff, there will be a premium placed on recruiting, even over on-field to start. You got to build the roster before you can coach the roster. So I think we can check that box. I also told you, and a lot of you remember this, I wanted what I called the uh-oh factor, which is when they hear who the hire is at Georgia or Florida or Tennessee, they go, uh-oh. And I don't think you accomplished that. Now, that's not the end-all, be-all. Some of the greatest hires in the history of college football have been underappreciated at the time they were hired, and some of the most lauded hires have failed spectacularly. I mean, think about the conversation we're having with Jim Harbaugh in Michigan right now. You need go no further than that for evidence. But I did think you needed to accomplish that, and they didn't accomplish it. So what did we check? We checked 1, 2, 3 of those boxes, and the third one is the last one, and I think we checked this several times over. I told you I wanted someone there who does indeed view it as a destination job or, as you may call it, a dream job. Now, there's no question amongst anyone associated with this search, Shane Beamer certainly views this as his dream job and a destination job. So, I was listening today to a lot of feedback. I normally like to shut up when a coaching hire is made. You can't tell that from watching this, I know, but I normally love to shut up when a coaching hire is made, and I just want to soak it in. Because there's always the reason to be optimistic. I know the reasons to be pessimistic here. I'm not blown away by the hire, but I also believe, like I told you with Christopher Walken in Wedding Crashers, when he's sitting there talking to whatever Rachel McAdams' character's name is, and he says, we have no way to know what the future holds. We just have to make the best decisions now with the information at hand. Carolina thinks they made the best they took the information at hand, and they think they made the best decision. He won this job, did Shane Beamer, because he won the community. Don't think for a second that there weren't people behind the scenes, former players, administrators around that program, vouching for him by the dozens and the hundreds. Don't think that didn't push this over the top, because it absolutely did. So now South Carolina's sold. A lot of the fan base is sold. I'm in the remains to be seen camp, but hey, it'd be kind of hypocritical of me to bang on this hire too much because of what I told you at the outset of this hire. Sorry about that, Colin. And what I told you was, stop worrying about what anyone else thinks about your program. I mean, I could knock this thing all day. And yet, on the other hand, I'd also tell you, don't listen to what I'm saying. Don't listen to what anyone else says. Do you love it? Because it's your program. Do you love the hire? If you do, everything else is irrelevant.